Mandalorian this season has really just gone off the rails. I'm kind of upset. Like, they actually created an original character, their own creation, and they're tanking it. They are ruining The Mandalorian. This season just feels pure like retconning and a marketing tool. And I really like The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. It wasn't perfect. It still felt like it had respect for George Lucas, for the OT, the prequels, just the themes that was important to George seemed very present in it. And Din Djarin was cool. He was cool. I can bring in warm or I can bring in cold. And now we have Lizzo and Jack Black in an Alice in Wonderland episode. Oh my goodness. They straight up nerfed Din. Yes. Their own character of Disney's creation. They can't even maintain that. I am done with Star Wars and Marvel, MH says. I'm officially a Dune Trek 40K fan and never looking back. It's sad, but you know, there's plenty of good stories out there. The legends and expanded universe of these things are still out there as well. Script says Mandalorian has declined by swapping the main hero for one from the cartoon, and to top it off, do a disservice to that character of Bo-Katan as well. Exactly. They wanted to take the success. They took something that was actually, it was a success, I would say, for the most part. Even the ones that were kind of checked out of Star Wars did find The Mandalorian enjoyable. And I think a lot of people were united in that, of the Star Wars fandom. It was the only thing that I liked. I liked the premise, too, at first. I liked that they just took one character, one little character of their own creation who wasn't part of this huge galactic narrative that just had just featured his small part of making his way in the universe. And it was great. He didn't have to be part of the greater events of the Empire and New Republic. A simple story worked. They're trying to make everything Avengers Endgame and post Avengers Endgame, where everything has to connect to something else, to next product. And that's what it feels like. Just everything now is so corporate and soulless, and their decisions are so superficial. The reasons that they give for their story choices, like I read an article the other day too about Jon Favreau, what his reasoning was, or how he got Lizzo and Jack Black to be on The Mandalorian. And it was literally just because they both had posted content on their social media, Mandalorian related. That is literally it. I'm glad we endured that silliness for a good reason. They took something good, even of their own creation, and they still had to find a way to mess it up. They had to try to hijack it for next product, next thing that will connect to this thing, and the next thing down the road that they have planned. And they ignore our attempted story. Look here, celebrity X. And what a dumb reason. They're like, oh, we had a lot of serious things happening in this season, so we gave ourselves permission to be silly. I'm paraphrasing his comments, but he did say that. We gave ourselves permission to have this lighthearted episode. And I don't even understand where the seriousness has come, because I can't take any of this seriously. It has been, Mandalorian Season 3 has been so chaotic, and there's no clear narrative. There was no clear villain. And just when you thought something was going to happen, maybe that was interesting, no, we go on a side quest to another side quest. The writing in The Mandalorian this season, it makes me think that it was written by an AI. Like, even in that first episode where Mandalorian is talking to Grogu about navigating the stars so you'll never get lost, it was just very simple, idiotic. Duh. Yeah, so just very corny. There's a lot of corniness and kind of also redundancies, it seems like, in the dialogue this season. I mean, there were signs back when Kenobi was so bad. Book of Boba Fett was so bad. I think I was the most looking forward to the Kenobi series. The storytelling possibilities were very intriguing. And they could have done something really introspective and really digging deep into the spiritual aspects of Star Wars, of the Force, and especially with Obi-Wan in the wake of what happened after Order 66. And they could have done a really cool and deep character study of this character post Order 66 and of Anakin at the time. And I thought we'd see like Force visions of Anakin, maybe like an alternate, a possible future, a possible past by Obi-Wan. And like that could have been an interesting way for these two characters to interact. I thought we'd see something cool and mystical. And it was so childish and so superficial. And it was literally just written to get the two characters to do their battle scene. And that's all Kathleen Kennedy really cared about. It was very disappointing. That was like all right, they're trying to tear down all these people's heroes, even like the original trilogy, prequel fans now. And even their own characters of Mandalorian. They can't maintain quality. They want to use that minimal success to drive just as a marketing campaign. And poor Grogu this season is just a doll. It's so atrocious, the corporate drive to sell merchandise this season. Yeah, Andor did have some amazing moments. I will grant you that. I actually did like the first 2 episodes, I think. Stellan Skarsgård carried that show for me. He was such a good get. And of course, obviously, being a Dune fan, that was cool to see him cross into Star Wars, and his performance was, I think, by far the best in my opinion. And that was the thing. Why was the show called Andor? He seemed like such a small part in it, and there was a lot of characters that they put in there that really didn't seem to have satisfying character arcs. Towards the end, I just it was meh. It wasn't an atrocity, I think, as Kenobi, and it looked pretty at least. It didn't look nearly as cheap as Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett. I think they spent most of their budget on that. Like, I don't think they gave any budget to Kenobi. They were just relying fully on Hayden and Ian McGregor. Raging Rhino, the volume has reduced the quality of these shows. I don't think Disney Plus has ever made a profit. I've heard that multiple times from people, and it kind of makes sense. I don't know how the streaming service would make money. And even now, you can tell the quality is going down. The budgets must be really suffering. But they're just churning out more content.